Welcome everyone. Like usual, you guys catching us in midstream. It's we. I have my tea. I hope you have your coffee. Tea. Dean got his coffee.
I've got a nice Nespresso Longo, Grand Longo today. I went with green tea last week with you, but I'm having coffee today. And then, yeah, just so you know, everybody, he's got a green tea. That is Lev Parnas. I am Dean Blundell, and this is Coffee and Tea with Lev and Dean. And we sit and shoot the shit, and you catch us as soon as we start mid sentence, as you normally do. We're talking about Christmas because I've got my Christmas shit up. Like I'm ready to go for Christmas, and you're ready to go for Christmas, and I'm like, what's that like after, serving some time in prison, getting your life back? Does it feel like the holidays? And you said no. You still have not taken time to reflect what it was like to be a political prisoner, literally a fucking political prisoner who did jail time for Donald Trump, watching him run up and down with his hair on fire. We're going to get to a bunch of different stuff. We'll bring you in. You can ask questions, Q&A for paid folks today. But on the personal side, it's not something we touch on because we're busy, reporting the news, and you're busy working sources. We never talk about the toll that the 6-year toll this is taken on you and your beautiful family.
Yeah, no, so like we were talking about. First of all, by the way, Dean, I had some of my subscribers ask us today. We have a special because of the holidays. Some of our subscribers have their grandkids and kids with them. They want to watch our show because of the importance of the news. It's amazing, and thank you. So they asked if we could, just for today, maybe the next couple of ones, try to keep down
Language.
the f bombs because they think that our
Yes.
information is extremely important, and I agree. And let's give. So I forgot to give you a heads up on that one because I know usually we're just chilling, relaxing, but we have some youngsters, which is I think extremely important because this is the wave of our next future, and I think it's important for them to understand exactly. And as for holidays, we celebrate all the holidays: Hanukkah, Christmas. We call it Christmas in our we put up Christmas trees, decorations all over. Even though I'm Jewish, I believe I'm a very spiritual guy, and but I'll tell you, yeah, what we started talking about is I have not had a chance to sit down and reflect on any of the things that have transpired from my arrest to the making the decisions of coming out, almost losing my family in the process, making the decision not to take some sort of a deal, but or try to get pardoned, but going to trial, the trial experience, being found guilty, sentencing, going to prison, being in prison while my family was on their own here, coming out, what my son Aaron went through and my young little kids. I My mother passed away 2 years ago. I still don't even feel because I'm like the pain of that because I've been on such a high adrenaline rush this whole time. Thanks, Nick. Happy Hanukkah to all of you, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Just like I was saying, it's not even which holiday. It's just the fact that the holiday season. For the past 6 years, I didn't know what it is like besides COVID and all these things that transpired in my life. So we're trying to normalize it a little bit this year with all the craziness going on. And I have a little surprise for you guys towards the end of the show. You two don't know, Dean, but I have a little surprise, a little personal thing I'm going to share with you guys.
All right.
Bring somebody up and we'll talk about. But yeah, so. I think it's an incredible time of the year. I think this is some time. I think we all need to take some time and also reflect and try to however we can to be able to really enjoy it. But at the same time, I want to make it very clear: do not take your feet off the pedal. I'm saying to you, we got to keep the pedal to the metal because there's a lot going on, and our democracy is on the line. We are in the middle of a war. This is and I want to make it clear, it is a war, even though wars are fought in different parts. Not only with bombs and guns. Wars are also fought with disinformation, which we fight over here every single day. Information, which we try to give you every single day, and I think that's even a bigger part of the war, because I think the more people that are informed, the more, and that's why I'm so psyched that we have a lot of our subscribers that are bringing family members, even younger ones, out here to be able to learn and understand exactly what's happening out there. I think it's just tremendous, and I think we need to keep that message more and more alive.
Yeah, dude. Well said. There's a political cost. You've paid it. There's a karmic cost. There's a peace of mind cost, an emotional cost, a mental cost. There's a physical cost to the things that you've been through, and the emotional cost for people like us that are continually muckraking, right? Like, we're continually talking about the corruption. We do not take our feet off the gas, as you point out. We do not take our eyes off the ball. And we got a couple of things to talk about to get to. Coffee and tea with Lev and Dean today. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a couple of topics. One, Dan Bongino. We also have a surprise a little later on in the show, but I want to get to the document that says it all, that dropped yesterday right ahead of this FIFA draw, which was intentional, by the way. We watched Donald Trump accept this FIFA peace deal medal out of nowhere. It was a FIFA peace plan. That's what they called it, the FIFA Peace Award that Donald Trump got. I want your thoughts on that, and then I want to get to the document that he buried right as soon as he ended up going on stage. We got a document that basically says, "Hey, America is switching teams. Canada's fucked. You're a vassal state. The European Union, heads up. We're going to make you white again, and you better start making amends with Vladimir Putin, because the United States is interested in nothing other than far right politics and fascism." But let's get to what you saw with Donald Trump on the stage yesterday with Julian Infantino, the FIFA president, accepting a participation trophy effectively.
I was gonna say, well, it's interesting to watch Donald Trump receive a participation trophy, because he's the guy that was out there screaming against, like, why are we giving trophies for second place and third place? Like, you have to be a winner. That's whole part of our whole mega thing was like, why Democrats are weak? Like, why are we giving kids just trophies for being participating? What, you should get it for winning. You gotta be, you gotta destroy. And here you go. But the ironic part about it is also, folks, you gotta understand. Here you have on the stage the most corrupt
Organization
FIFA
in the world.
organization in the world. I mean, literally, like, there is no, it's like there is nothing more corrupt that we've been fighting over the years, from Qatar and Russia and you name it. Every time there's the FIFA Cup, there's always the scandal. There's always corruption. There's always, even where they have it. You know, uh, but the fact that the way they're playing him, the way they know it, the embarrassment. Because I mean, to watch him put on, like, they put out a medal. I mean, I don't know, like, it's like doing that to, I feel like, it's like you do that to your 7-year-old when you're,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
When he comes home
but
finishing last in
right.
field trip day, and you make a fucking thing with beads, and you're like, you're first in my heart, dude.
Exactly. We got you. So, so Donald Trump got, a FIFA first, whatever you call it, one of a kind, and he put it on so proudly. That's the whole thing. Like, he put it on so proudly,
I
like,
did it,
yeah,
mom.
like, I did it, guy. Like, here it is. Like, it was like, I mean, that was like, I couldn't even believe that,
Oh
but
my God.
the
I was
irony,
laughing so hard because of the prideful look on his face, like it was the Nobel Peace Prize.
right?
And they cooked this fucking shit up like a couple of
Yeah.
months ago. According to my sources, they're like, you're going to invent a peace prize. You're going to give it to me. I'm going to stand on stage because we've got a couple of fake wars and fake war announcements that we said we'd solve, like the Congo and Rwanda. They're still fighting. Israel, Gaza, they're still kicking the shit out of each other. We know what's going on in Ukraine. Fuck, Donald Trump's attacking his own people. Standing there as ice goons are kicking the shit out of people, and Julian Infantino from FIFA, the world's most corrupt organization's like, you're the most peaceful guy in the world. Here's a participation medal, sir.
Right. So the world. So it was only fitting that the world's most corrupt, organization was giving the most corrupt president in the history of the United States
A fake award.
a fake award, a participation award that he proudly wore, and even the way they made up the brackets, that let me see it's USA and bragging about how did that happen? you know, so, I mean, watching this whole thing. Listen, the crazy part about it, at the end of the day, this should be such a great event for the United States. I mean, for the world. FIFA stands for unification. I mean, you got all these
Yeah.
countries from the world, and think about what's going on in the United States. I mean, we have in the middle of this, you have people that are not can't even get visas to come here because our State Department's so screwed up. They don't know, they're throwing people out instead of bringing them in. You have people that are scared to go to the watch football because they're talking about having ICE agents in the stands and literally grabbing people. I mean, just think about it. I mean, like, if I would have told you this, if we would have been sitting this talking about having a podcast and sitting here talking about this,
that ICE and DHS would be official security for the World Cup.
A year ago, saying that they're just I mean, you would think we were crazy. You'd think we were like Looney Tunes. You hit the crack pipe a little too much or something. Because I mean, you wouldn't think that something like this could actually be happening in the United States, and it really is, and it's as funny as we laugh at it, but that's how embarrassing it is. Because at the end of the day, you have countries that are on lists that can't even get in here. So you got actual athletes that are supposed to represent unity, peace, athletics, that's what the Olympics and all of that stands for. And now you got Trump basically boycotting 32 countries because, his
banned them. He banned travel from like literally 12 of the World Cup countries. Like
12 World Cup countries, like, hey, so let's figure out now, we got to figure out how we're going to get them in. I mean, it's just a whole cluster, shit show that, comes with the Trump organization. Because, like, just think about it. While we have all these wars, while everything, and this is what he's concentrating, and the show. You just think about how the show he puts on, who he has there, like the athletes he brought in to bring in to make it like at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah, his buddy Gretzky, by the way, who I don't know if anybody knows this, might have been half in the bag and doesn't know how to pronounce any country's name with more than one syllable. That was a lot of fun. Shaq was there. Aaron Judge, your boy, he was there, right? But the funniest part, and I want to get to the NSS in a second. It was personally tailored to Trump, because the closing act, you would think at the World Cup draw would be like Lady Gaga or like Chappelle Roan or Taylor Swift, like a big huge like name, right? No, the closing act was the Village People doing YMCA with Trump in the stands going, YMCA is the happiest I've seen him in a long time.
I mean, like, does he even know? You know what? The one thing I wish I was still around him right now, because I really would want to ask him. Because that's the one question I never even thought about. But like, since does he even know what that song stands for?
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Because his face beams every time he's like, you can hang out with all the boys. Young man.
And he has at Mar-a-Lago, he actually has like, fake Village People acts all the time. I mean,
he loves it.
What I'm saying. He loves it.
Like, dude, he had, before we get to the national security stuff too, he had My Way by Sinatra blaring on the White House speakers yesterday, and everybody was like, what the bleep? Sorry, I'm trying not to swear. What the bleep is going on? He's Mr. Playlist. Like, you see him at those parties, right? And he sits down with his iPad. Makes me laugh. And he's like the DJ at all of his own parties too, where he sits down with his iPad and he's like, no, we need to hear the Village People for the 14th time tonight, and then we'll go into Ave Maria, and then some Sinatra. How's that sound? Oh, and then the Les Mis stuff. And everybody's standing around going, dude, Like, stop. You're cutting this off mid-song. Like, these are the stories that I hear about those parties where they're like, take the iPad of the playlist away from Donald Trump.
No, he's literally. I'm telling you, he's literally. I mean, he's giving the world right now. I just want all of you to understand and really accept it. One thing about power of energy is you need
Hmm.
to accept this. You need to accept who Donald Trump is.
Yeah.
This is the real Donald Trump. This is who you're seeing play out. This is a lot of the stuff that you've seen over the years, it was, played out as set up as because he's an actor. But this is the real Donald Trump, and that's you're seeing the craziness, you're seeing the narcissism that takes over, and that turns into craziness. You see the dementia kicking in. You also, very importantly, which we'll talk about, also see his real opinion of women. You really see how he treats women, what he
Hmm.
thinks of women, how he expect, and you're seeing it. All of these things start playing out, and it's like he doesn't care what happens because
Yeah.
they say the lame duck president. He's not. The difference is I want you people to understand. It's not. He's not a lame duck president in his mind. He's not going anywhere. He's building an empire. So yes, he might. You might. The media keeps calling him, thinking that he doesn't care what he's doing because in 2 years he's going to be gone and we're going to have a different president. No, no, he is on the contrary. They have a whole plan in mind, and they've came out and told you about it. Bannon has mentioned it several times.
Hmm.
They have a plan in how they are going to basically take certain constitutional and wording and basically define it. Stephen Miller is going to come out and define it in a totally different way that what it says, and they're going to turn this into and the way you see the Supreme Court lately, dealing with. So
Yeah.
again, that's what I'm saying to you. It's like there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a ton. I mean, and it's encapsulated by, we can talk about policy, Supreme Court, the gerrymandering stuff, the effort that Donald Trump is trying to put into turning the United States into a fascist dictatorship. But there's one document, again, that dropped prior to Donald Trump singing with the Village People. And it was the national security strategy that happened yesterday. This is a breakup letter to the EU. This is a breakup letter to Canada. This is the intention that Donald Trump is setting. Let me kind of light this up, and then I'll ask you what the hell we just read. The U.S. national security strategy, historically, everybody, if you don't understand, every year, blueprint for American leadership. And this one looks like it was written by the Kremlin, and I want your thoughts on it. The language, what stood out to me, because it usually defines American interest, threats, and alliances, that has been flipped on its side. That Donald Trump and the United States are trying to tell the world it's time for a fucking 180. Pardon my language. Time for a 180. We're now gonna switch teams. Um, it attacks allies, absolves Russia, praises far right movements, blames Europe for resisting Putin. It's an unbelievable document. Language is not an American strategic doctrine. It is literally ripped from Russian foreign policy doctrine, almost word for word, including words like vassal state. That was in reference to Canada. Maybe the strongest evidence yet that Trump isn't just soft on Putin, but he's operating inside Putin's worldview, and that this document came directly, and we'll get to it, directly from the Kremlin. What are you hearing from the EU, and what do you know about this complete 180 in the national security strategy of the United States that literally is every Russian talking point from the past 3.5 years?
I mean, Dean, like, what can I say? I mean, this is I hate moments like this to be you say I told you so, and then I'm not saying I told you so in a bad way, but it doesn't surprise me because this was the plan and it's playing out just like I've written about in Substack for the past 6, 7 months about
Yeah.
exactly step by step what they're doing, and this doesn't surprise me because look what transpired the past couple of days. and the media is not. Just think about it. You had Steve Whitkoff. You have a major war going on, which is should be top of the line headlines, right?
Hmm.
You have Steve Whitkoff, Jared Kushner, which is the most unusual thing. The media are meeting with Vladimir Putin. You have all of this going. The media is not talking about anything that's happening, and like you said, the interesting part is the moment Jared Kushner and Woodcock leave there, there's certain instances that happen that the media is not talking about at all. Like
Like
for
what?
instance, this
Yeah.
letter, like
Hmm.
this national 186, which is not, what Trump was about. They're not breaking news. They're not talking about it every day, saying, "Are you kidding me? Look at what's going on." But also, they're not talking about that Trump lifted sanctions on Lukoil the same exact time. He slipped that in there. This was right after the meeting. The same thing. Just like they're not talking about that the meeting that happened yesterday between Kushner, Whitkoff, and the Russian delegate. I mean, the Ukrainian delegation without who wasn't there. Marco Rubio, who has nothing to do with it because of it. This is all the deal making because, as I wrote in my Substack and as I've been talking about it probably from the second day that I was on this platform, it's this has been set up by Kirill Dmitriev, Jared
Hmm.
Kushner, and Whitkoff. They've been running the show from day one. This was all a setup, all this back and forth, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. I hate Putin. I like Zelensky. I hate Zelensky. I like Putin. Back and forth. This was all drama set up to buy time for what was going on. Now you're seeing the end of the script. Now you're seeing what I told you. What is coming to where we're coming to a heads up
Yeah.
is now Donald Trump feels because of the information the Russians have given him, which is compromise that has to do with a lot of Zelensky inner circle people that are of the corruption, true or not true. We're not talking about that for today's conversation, but because of the pressure that they're putting on to do the regime change,
Hmm.
and because of the constant bombardment by Russia and wintertime coming up, and Ukraine and America stop handing any weapons, and Europe in disarray, and all of this happening, they feel that this is a time where they're going to be able to stop the war on their terms,
Yeah.
meaning take over the industry, and either through regime change, either through because of whatever the play. So because of that, that's why he said Kushner in there, because now it's time to divvy it up. Now it's time to cash in. Now it's
Yep.
time to figure out how we're going to put all of this together. And the reason why they sat there for 4 or 5 hours, people don't really understand, is out of those 3 hours, this is a complicated strategical plan that they're putting together through offshore corporations,
Hmm.
through all of these different companies that are going to basically, they're putting a web together, not of how of peace, a web together of how Russian oligarchy and Kremlin money could intertwine with American oligarchy and American Trump money, and basically intertwine and turn it into global. Because you have to understand, Donald Trump is in a world right now he's never been in. Yes, you could call him, he was always rich. He was always, well, he was famous, but he was famous in a small circle. He was not famous like this on the world stage. He never had the power on the world stage. He never had the type of money he's made over the past 6 months or 7 months, the billions that we're talking about. And
Yep.
he's never had the opportunity to do what he's doing. So this is what
Hmm.
I'm saying to you. So that's why it's all a setup and all being played out. So it doesn't surprise me that you're seeing that, because this was the original plan. Because with this, now what you're going to see, the other thing you're not seeing, which is very important, is you're not seeing Donald Trump come out and make any statements after the Whitkoff and Putin meeting. He
Hmm.
hasn't come out and said anything. He hasn't come out and said that that was a good meeting, a bad meeting. He hasn't come out and said that there's anything. He said zero. He hasn't come out. Just think about it. That is a really, really important meeting. I mean, this should be headlines.
Yeah. That
You know what I'm
silence is
saying? Yeah.
deafening. Yeah. Yeah.
There's no, but we're seeing, and I always say, and this is important for all of you that have been following me, and you know it. I always say, don't listen to their words, don't listen to what they say, follow the action.
Yep.
Watch what they do. And what they do is you're seeing in the meantime what played out. They put out this 180, what's it called, resolution.
National security strategy.
National
Yep.
security.
Can I just add to that as well?
Yeah,
This
please,
national
go ahead.
security strategy. The passages that jump out to me that are unmistakably Russian, by the way. The 28-point peace plan, as we know, was laundered by the United States from Russia. There are multiple reports that say that this is the same thing, and I want to get to those. To your point, the national security strategy phrases sphere of responsibility. Russia's term for controlling subordinate nations like Belarus, Georgia, Moldova is now applied to Canada and the EU in this document. It is under our sphere of responsibility. Make sense?
Think about it.
Okay. So there's one thing.
Okay.
Number two, demographic realities and European decline. These are the things that Russia continues to talk about over and over again. Kremlin-coded white nationalist phrasing. Russia uses it to justify authoritarianism and anti-immigrant policies, right? You know that. You've seen it. I mean, these are ripped right out of Kremlin talking points.
Yeah.
In the document, Trump blames Europe for prolonging the war in Ukraine. Well, what has fucking Russia been saying since day one? You're prolonging the war against Ukraine. The EU, get out of our way, EU. EU, you get in our way, we're going to attack you, EU. It's your fault. Now Trump has adopted that in his national security. This is fucking wild. Calling European governments unstable, democratic European governments unstable and undemocratic. Russia uses this to delegitimize every EU country, and Trump uses it in the document to fracture NATO. I shit you not. He basically said NATO doesn't work anymore. We need to dial it back. Again, another Russian talking point. Promising U.S. support for far-right parties. In this document, he effectively did what Kremlin's been doing, saying you need to adopt a stronger nationalistic identity, and the people of Germany and the people of Poland and the people of this country and that country have to follow this far-right leader, and that far-right leader continually talks about the importance of having a great relationship with Russia. How the fuck was this not completely, pardon my language again, I'm sorry, kids.
Actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put a jar up there, and every time you curse, you're gonna put $5 in there, and then you're gonna donate that money to the Ukraine. Alex's GoFundMe.
I will.
At the end of every time you curse, folks. So we're gonna get Dean to, this is a family-friendly Saturday morning show. Go ahead, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, what my question is, who wrote this? Because Trump did not.
Again, this is what I'm saying. Yeah, of course Trump did not, and Rubio did not, and none of the State Department. This comes from, again, this the talking points, the meeting that this is. Guys, this is how crazy it is. If you take a look at my letter that I wrote literally 4 days ago, and you take a look at the talking points that I said that my sources said that were talked about in the 4-hour meeting, is primarily this is what part of the discussion. To control global energy, to put a chokehold on Europe, to get out of NATO, to it goes a little deeper, obviously, than some of the things, because of now they put it on paper and it's pure Russian. Yeah, this is similar to the 28-point peace takeover, so whatever plan you want to give it. It's a similar situation. It's because they're not. You got to understand, because this is the problem that they're dealing with, because somebody that lived it, has been part of that, and sees this like PTSD reliving all over again.
Yeah.
You need to understand this. These guys, Whitkoff, Kushner, and them are not diplomats. They are not a political.
They're henchmen. They're deal makers.
No,
Right?
but this is important. What I'm going to explain to you why you're seeing like the 28-point plan. Why you're seeing direct wording from Russia, where you're not even seeing any creativity, because they are not working with Rubio and the State Department. See, if they were working just like when me and Rudy were not working, because of shadow of diplomacy that's being run right now.
Yeah.
Because if they were, they would have just basically say, okay, this is the talking points now. Give it to Rubio and everybody, put it together, put the American spin on it. Let's see what makes sense to us, what we want to take out, what we want to put in there. They don't have, just like we didn't have, Pompeo on our side. That's why, if you remember, me and Rudy were running around whatever we were doing. Pompeo was on a totally different world. Same thing here. You got Rubio sitting in the White House, praising Donald Trump, while Whitkoff and Kushner in Moscow, selling Ukraine and divvying up the
Carving it
world.
up. Yeah. Yeah.
Carving up. You got Whitkoff and Kushner right now in Miami meeting him. You don't have what's it called, Rubio. So that's why they are basically taking this stuff. They have no expertise. They're not lawyers where they could sit there and start marking this thing up and putting the U.S. national spin on it. So they're basically taking it, translating it, and then putting it through the system as our own, because they know that if they give it and it starts, it's going to get stuck and it's not going to get through. Because just like when we wanted to get rid of the ambassador, we couldn't. We every time we would tell Pompeo, it would get stuck until Trump. So that it's the same old thing. That's why you're seeing this incompetence and you're seeing this. Craziness and happen because they are not professionals, diplomats, and can't put what they mean on word. They're real estate guys, so
Yeah.
to them it makes sense. To them it's a business transaction. Hey, who cares about? And also, you got to keep in mind that's also part of what Project 2025 is. It's also
Mm-hmm.
part of what Trump and them been doing. See, this is a very important thing in this national security letter, which we need to touch on, and what the media and nobody. And that's why, folks, it's important. Smash those hearts, pass it on, because what we're talking about this Saturday morning, I know it's a lighthearted conversation, but it's also a very serious conversation,
Yeah.
because these things, nobody's talking about it, and we need your help to spread the message far and wide, because they are on their heels, and that's why a lot of these things they're doing and making mistakes because of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mistakes that they made, specifically when it came to the 28-point peace plan, which they laundered through the Kremlin, and the mistakes they made when they laundered this national security strategy through the Kremlin, is that it is word for word every Russian talking point from the past 3.5 years. And what it does is it acts as an official policy document that brings, as you point out, not the words of Donald Trump, but the works of the Trump regime over the past 10.5 years, where you've gone, why are they doing that? Why are they not sending arms to Ukraine? Why are they treating Canada like it's a redheaded stepchild? Why do they want to invade Greenland? Within this government, it is everything that Donald Trump has been talking about, Vladimir Putin has been talking about, and this document presents it as a new direction for the United States of America. And that new direction, and I'm not, to your point, yeah, lighthearted, we're having some fun talking about this fake participation medal the other day. But this document effectively acts as policy and gives everybody in America's old orbit, specifically every ally, the distinct impression that Donald Trump effectively is telling us, all of us, the EU, Canada, every ally, I am switching teams and I'm taking America with me. We are no longer interested in
and
the
and
sovereign. What's that? Go ahead.
And very important. This is what I want to say to that. Not only is he switching sides, but the push. That's why I said Project 2025. The push of the far right
Yeah,
movement all over the world. That's why you see, Balassari in Brazil. They're trying that. You saw what he did in Argentina. You see the movement that he's trying to push all over Europe. It's a far right movement. You could see that it coincides with exactly what
you got it.
Russia wants, and that's why it's very scary and very dangerous. And think about it, to the fact that you got such a very powerful piece of document out there that's
And
official.
sorry, to your point, in
Yeah,
this document, it specifically names those far right parties in a bunch of different Eastern Bloc dictatorial countries that will be receiving United States support. So it was a letter that he's going to meddle to help those parties as well. To your point, I
right.
don't mean to. Yeah, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Cindy, I just want to make sure, because Cindy said I can't see this happening. Oh, it's happening. Absolutely, it's happening, and this is already official policy change that's happening on. And he officially took off till April. Also, what's it called? Sanctions off Lukoil,
Hmm.
for them to be able to get, which nobody's talking about. I'm really dumbfounded how the media is dropping the ball on this one.
Dude,
I
nobody's
know we
talking about this.
nobody. I mean, there. I understand there's a lot of things happening, but this is probably one of the most important things besides, the shooting the ships down. But again, how much can you regurgitate the same exact? How many more pundits can you have talk about that? It's plain and white. We see that this was unlawful. You see that Bradley's covering up. It's a cover up, which
Oh, you're talking about the Caribbean boat bombings. Yeah,
right.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but that's all they talk about, which is, it's important. I understand that, but there's a lot of that's why Trump knows how to use the news cycle. So even though he's getting bad publicity there, he's able to sneak in this policy change. He's able to sneak in the sanctions. He's able to sneak in right now that Ukraine and they're about to do some kind of deal. I'm hearing about setting up supposedly elections in 100 days or something like that. So, I mean, they're pushing part. It's all part of this whole plan. And to make matters worse, the things that nobody even mentioning that my source told me, one of the things they also spoke about was Venezuela, because Venezuela is something, that is going to be, right now a prize. Trump realized that he almost gave it up to Russia and China. And then he finally realized the importance of it. And now, this Maduro is just basically a piece, like a used thing that they're trying to figure out how, to take control. So there's a lot of moving parts in that world. And it's basically all built on corruption. It's all built on power, and it's all built on
Profit.
trying to take profit.
Yeah.
But let's move on to some other subjects because I know you also have to go today.
Yeah, I got to go in about 5
town.
minutes. I got a bit of a heart out today, and we might actually pick this up for the Q&A portion to bring people on tomorrow. So make sure you DM us if you got a question. A bunch of questions in here, specifically one question that I think fits into the tenor of the conversation, because not only are we dealing with the complete 180 of foreign policy for the United States of America, and why they're doing that is to distract you from the impending doom of the Trump regime, and it is not just cracked, it is over. But I'm hearing some interesting stories about Kash Patel's buddy, Dan Bongino. What are you hearing? Because Dan is kind of trying to, he was on Fox a couple times this week, trying to allude to the fact this week that he might go back to podcasting. So would love your thoughts, because Dan Bongino is that canary in the MAGA coal mine, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So for the first of all, our community here knows exactly the name Dan Bongino because we're the only ones that have been talking about him for not 6, but 4 months since July 6th when the whole Epstein thing blew up in their face and they tried to cover it up. Ever since then, every show I've been talking, I've been mentioning Dan Bongino. You know it, not only here, but on every Substack, every YouTube channel. I've spoken to people in Congress. I've told them that Dan Bongino is somebody that is not aligned with Trump, is not aligned with Pam Bondi, and him and Patel are separate. Not to say that Dan Bongino is a good guy, and not to say that Dan Bongino is going to rat them out or change sides, because there's a lot of still moving parts. But the fact that Dan Bongino is not on their side, the fact that part of that meeting, dinner that J.D. Vance was supposed to have was not only to try to, for folks remember the meeting we broke were about the Maxwell situation, but it also was about to try to get Dan Bongino to get on the side. That's why the meeting was between Patel and Pam Bondi. Dan Bongino had it out with Trump. Dan Bongino had it out with Susie Wiles. Dan Bongino had it out with Pam Bondi. I've been reporting on this already for the past 4 months, and the media, nothing. Now, the media is starting to pick up finally, thank goodness, and starting to talk about how Dan Bongino is not in alignment because of this interview they did on Fox. So I've been just going to break some news to all our subscribers here today. And later I'm writing a letter about it, which will break more in detail about it as I'm waiting to get some calls. But what I'm hearing is that Dan Bongino has made is 90% there, but has made a decision that middle of January, Dan Bongino is trying to leave the FBI. He's trying to figure out the whole question right now. My insiders are telling me is which direction to go, because Dan Bongino has seen a lot, and now he's going to go back to podcasting. But now, to which degree? Because Dan Bongino also sees the midterms coming up. Dan Bongino is not the same loyalist that Kash Patel is. He's not in the same position as Kash Patel is, to a certain degree. So Dan Bongino right now is in a world where it could be extremely, he could be that camel that comes out and that straw that breaks the camel's back, and that's part of our mission, which, why we set up the GoFundMe. And by the way, Ludmila or anybody out there, if you guys have it, just put the GoFundMe out while we're talking.
Yeah, please.
So people can spread it around. And we're close to hiring a team, getting ready. January is going to be huge. But that's part of the reason, because nobody's talking about but Dan Bongino. But Dan Bongino is a big, I think, thorn in their side. And we're going to keep pushing, exposing it. And you hear it here first that Dan Bongino is going to be leaving. We just don't know, and we'll be breaking it soon, which way he's going to be talking, because yes, he's also very scared of Trump and Trump regime. But keep in mind, they see the writing on the wall. So there's separate groups in Trump camp orbit right now. You have the loyalists, and when I call loyalists, you could call them loyalists, you could call them cultists, you could call them whatever I call them conspiracy. I call them what's it called? To get when you're partners
Maggots?
in crime. No, partners in crime, corrupted. People like that, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. The difference between the Dan Bongino and Kash Patel is Kash Patel is out there actually living the life of Adam, thinking he is a real FBI director, but not doing his work and going out there and having his girlfriend's drunk friend being escorted home.
Secret Service for taking his girlfriend home.
His girlfriend's friend, not even his girlfriend. His girlfriend's drunk.
This guy's
friend.
too drunk to drive. You got to take him home, Secret Service. Okay, sir.
You're right. So what I'm saying to you. So there's another guys like that. Patel are so corrupt. Like Bondi, she is so already corrupt with with what she's doing with the Epstein files. With people like Christy Nome, who is out there running around with those lips, too much injection, but thinking with the Rolex watch that she's like now DHS queen. People like that are going to go down. Like they're going to get indicted, subpoenaed. They're breaking laws. I mean, Pete Hegseth for killing people. Those are. But there's people in there that did not cross that line.
Yeah,
Bongino's one of them.
Yeah.
Bongino did not cross that line. And I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not saying he's going to come out and tell us all the truth. But I'm telling you what the truth is right now. I'm telling you what's happening inside. And there's a real battle happening with Bongino, because yes, he made all his money off the conspiracies, and now he's coming out. And you saw that Fox News talking about he was paid for it. And even he mentioned it. I might someday come back to it. I'm saying to you, but at the same time, he sees the writing on the wall. Everybody sees the polls that are happening right now. Everybody saw what happened November 4th. Everybody sees, and not everybody is cultized or magatized as the Bondis and the Patels, and corruptionized like they are, that still have that window. They're still trying to say, okay, I might be able to escape and somehow turn this into, let me expose what Trump and them did in the FBI while I was there. You know what I'm saying to you? That type of a situation.
Yeah. Well, MTG did it already. Nancy Mace considering doing it. You got 47 different senators that are on their way out. You've got another 40 or 50 different Congress people that are on their way out. There is an escape hatch, and it is, hey, this is not what we signed up for. And thank you once again, Lev, for making sense of it. Ladies and gentlemen, we might be back to do the Q&A portion of this tomorrow. I need to go to what's that?
Actually, let's do this, because there's some people. If you have to go, why don't you run? We'll come back and do another one. But because I wanted to bring a couple of people that already messaged that want to come up and So I'll do a little bit, but you go run, do your thing because I know you. Dean has kids in town, so he did a special. We weren't even supposed to do it. We were going to reschedule it, but because so many of you have already DM'd and come up, and there's over 1,100. Thank everybody, Dean. Thank you so much for joining
Thanks, my
us.
friend. As I love you as always. It's so
Love you,
awesome to
brother.
be here with you, pal. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Definitely.
Have fun with Lev, and go easy on him. Make it easy for him too. Get your questions in there. He'll bring you up. Love you all. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks,
Dean,
pal.
enjoy with the kids, and maybe we'll do a part 2 tomorrow because I
Yeah.
think we
Let's
might
do
have
it. We
some
got way
topics.
more to
So
get
yeah,
to. Yeah.
absolutely. I'll
Okay,
talk to
pal.
you later,
I'll
brother.
see you tomorrow.
Take care, brother.
Bye.
Oh, hey guys. Yeah, so Dean had to run early, but we're gonna continue because we have some more things to go over. And I want to make sure we have some people that we're going to bring up. I know we're going to try to bring Cheech and Alex up together so we could get them. We're going to bring Stephanie Young. Stephanie, if you're here, I got your DM. Just shoot me like a fingers up that you're here, and then we'll bring you up. Also, I wanted to give you guys some updates. Also, wanted to talk to you a little bit about the call to action that we're doing about. But the news that we got, the important news that you heard today was that the media is not talking about is what's happening in Ukraine and Russia. Let me try to see if we could bring Alex up. Cheech up. There we go. So we're going to do this portion. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to bring you guys up. So if you have any questions, or there we got Cheech. Cheech, welcome, brother. Let's see if
Thanks, brother.
we could get Alexander up, so we could get this portion going. And then make sure you guys don't go anywhere because at the end I have a surprise for you. Something personal I'm going to share with you guys. So definitely, make sure that you stay out to the end because we have something very important at the end, and I have a message for you guys that I want to share. Oh, there we go, Alexander. Excellent.
Hey, hey, brother.
Hey, I finally got you guys together.
How are you, Lev?
I'm doing well.
Hey
Well,
guys.
actually, me and Chish, we just finished texting about 20 minutes ago, so we've been in communication.
Oh,
Just
okay,
haven't had a
beautiful.
chance.
So see, I didn't know that. I was gonna say let's use
Well,
Saturday and try to get you guys together.
No, but especially today's a special day. They expect a new member of the family coming in. So
Yeah. Wow. Yes, we're going to have my fiance's sister has a baby girl that's coming, and
yes, so it's an important day.
she was about
No.
6 minutes apart. So
Oh my God! Wow. All right.
it's
All
getting
right.
close.
Congratulations.
Getting close. So, it's the whole Substack world, and of course, our family is also Substack. So with what we're doing over in Ukraine with Olex, and I want everybody to understand, you become a paid subscriber of me, the money goes to that gentleman right there. I
Oh,
sent
God bless you, Cheech.
directly
God
to
bless you.
a GoFundMe that's in there. And what I wanted to talk about today, real quick, was today is St. Nicholas Day. Is that not correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And on my Substack, I put up an article about the Ukrainian children, what their wishes for, and on Saint Nick's Day. And when I read the letter, if everybody can hear me, I'm going to read this. This brought tears to my eyes. It says, "My name is Pavlo. I am 8 years old. I live in the city of, correct me if I'm wrong, Torsk, Torsk. I love building Lego sets, playing with Hot Wheel cars more than anything." And this is what really brought tears to my eyes. "I dream that my dad will come home. He's a soldier who went missing in the war 2.5 years ago. I dream of peace and that candy in the world never runs out." So that, as you can see, my eyes are watering out. The emotion that's there, the passion that's there that I have for helping in Ukraine, helping these kids. And everybody needs to keep in mind how many thousands, 20,000 that were sent over to North Korea to go into these camps to indoctrinate them into a world that they've never known. And that hurts me to the core. Of course, I have Lev's book, Shadow Diplomacy, but I also want to show you something else that was done. It was a couple of years ago. And if you get an opportunity to read this book, it's going to help you understand Russian culture. Let me put my eyes on for a second because I need to see this. In the introduction, it says, "This book is a confession. I'm guilty not reading the signs much earlier. I, too, am responsible for Russia's war against Ukraine, as are my contemporaries and our forebears. Regrettably, Russian culture is also to blame for making all these horrors possible. Many Russian writers and historians are complicit in facilitating this war. It is their words and thoughts over the past 350 years that have sowed the seeds of Russian fascism and allowed it to flourish, although many would be horrified today to see the fruits of their labor." When you read that and you understand Russian history and you know that what the culture is, then everything makes sense. You connect the dots to what Lev is doing and to what Olex is doing over in Ukraine. We need to support them to save Ukraine, to save their democracy, because what they intend to do is repeat history, every single aspect of it. So that
100%.
Let me just for 1 second. You're 100% right, because I also looked into it, and I only went back as far as 900 years, and I saw the pen. I didn't even go further, but I know it goes further. I know it goes much further. So you're right. It's like a cycle. It's always a cycle. Donbass is always a cycle. There were so many world companies that built the train factories. They built so many things there, and Russia always took the money and destroyed it and never made it work. So it's like a cycle. Go ahead, Chiz. I'm sorry.
No, Olex, because your perspective comes from the view being there on the ground. You lived in Ukraine. This is another book that it's great to read. Bloodlands. This will also help understand what is happening there. And I'll just finish up by saying this, Lev. I had past tense, had friends in Ukraine. I mean, in Russia, pardon me. And we would have conversations. And when the war started, 2022, and they invaded the cities in the northern part of Ukraine, and they went in, and the army went in, and the Russian military, and they were murdering people, raping women, killing children. And I said to them, "How can this be?" And you know what they said? "Our military would never do that." And it's like, you gotta be effing kidding me, right? I mean, before my very eyes, I said, "If that's the way you think, then unfortunately we'll have to stop it here." So, with a deep breath, I'll finish up. This right here, if everybody can see it, this is Archangel Michael. And I believe he's a patron saint in Ukraine. Is he not, Olex?
Yes.
Yeah. And so this tattoo has been there before they invaded Russia. And the young woman that recommended that to me said, "Cheech, what's your passion?" Once we found that, then I knew. And the devil that's at the bottom, that's Putin. So,
Cheech, brother, God bless you, man, for all the work, for the support you do. Folks, Cheech is also a volunteer, and he's helping not only in Ukraine, he's helping here save our democracy. And this is our family. So, we need more people. We need more Cheeches in the world. God bless you, brother. Keep up the fight.
God bless you. God bless you.
I'm glad you know
something,
Alexander got to get, yeah.
you and I
want to add something. I want to add something to what she said, and he was talking about friends. Oh, he left already. Okay. He was talking about friends, and I went to the similar stuff, but they had to delete all the numbers and everything. But it goes deeper than that. There are people, parents, like family apart, like kids live in Ukraine, and parents live in occupied Donetsk, Lugansk areas. And when they talk, it's like they say, "No, but that's not us. This is your government doing. They are the ones that are doing it. It's not us. They over the past year before the invasion, full invasion started, those 8 years that they put Russian TV in all those occupied areas, all those people, almost all of them brainwashed. Almost all of them already, because they have a very strong propaganda. And I remember, I think in 2016 when I was there, the channel 1 is all over the place, and people sit glued to it all night long, and then the invasion started. So that's how the propaganda worked over there. And Chish is right that people's mind flips. So this is a long preparation for this invasion, probably since the 91 minimum, and they will not stop. They do not know how to stop. They do not know. They do not know anything else. They never created anything. They never made difference in the world by doing something good for the humanity or anything like that. It was always take it or defend it. Take it, either somebody attacks them first and they have to defend, or they attack first, and then eventually they withdraw, whatever. Because at the end they never gain anything. I mean, look at England, look at Italy. England was all over the world. They had colonies in China, in India. They were because they did it with the brain. And Romans did it with the power. And what did they wind up with? Just Italy. And the same thing is Russia. What they wind up with? Just Russia. And it's always self-inflicted wounds inside the country. So this is
History
the way they
repeats
live.
it, and it's we talk about it. That's why history is important to take a look at. That's why, like when Cheech said, and that's why I'll tell you, I recommend make sure, not because even it's cold, but this is history and it's repeating itself right now, and this will connect
Yes.
all the dots to you on what's going on. Alex, I know you got to run. I know, and I appreciate for you jumping in
It's
because I
always a
wanted to
pleasure.
get you with Cheech. Just to give everybody a quick update, me and Alexander are going to be doing a special live in the next couple of days to give you some updates. As Cheech said, the holidays are coming up. Besides all the essential aid that we have been delivering and doing, and Alexander is continuously delivering. And as you could see, we have upped the amount on the GoFundMe because we're continuously sending aid. And Alexander is going to give us an update in the next couple of days of where he's doing. But some of the
I'm
things.
sorry. I'm gonna give you one now, real quick. I was gonna tell you later, but God willing, if there is a clear passage, I might be doing live from Dnipropetrovsk the next week. So I'm trying to take the aid over there where the building got damaged, where there was a lot of casualties. So God willing, we'll see. Go ahead, continue.
Well, great. No, see, that's great news to hear that, that Dnipropetrovsk is you're going to. But also, I wanted to just touch on that some of the special things that we're trying to put together, and Alex is working behind the scenes, is to do visit some children's homes that have lost their families, that are right now some children's hospitals, some elderly that are right now that, some soldiers that are out there. And for the holidays, to deliver some, not just aid, but sometimes like that child wrote, a Lego set because their father's not there to give it to them, and some toys, or some fruits, or just to sit by one of the soldiers' beds for a little bit and listen to one of his stories because he has nobody left to come home to, and that's what part of what also your help allows us to do, and what we're planning on doing. Alexander's planning on putting this together next week, which will bring bring you and we'll keep you updated on once everything to for you to see exactly how it's going on. So Alex, thank you, brother. Thank you for all you do. You are a true hero, and I know I could see that there's no lights. It's cold. It's getting winter time. That's another thing. Keep in mind, folks. Ukraine right now is under heavy bombardment. They have most of the countries without heat, without lights at
Over
most of the day.
700 targets last night.
Over 700
Over
targets last
700
night.
targets.
And it's really the media is not reporting it, and that's why we're not seeing it. And that's part of the plan for you not to understand what the pain they're suffering and going through. And that's why at Lev Remembers, Voice from Ukraine, that's our platform. That's why together we're making sure that we keep the spotlight on all of this. Love you, brother. Slava Ukraini, and guys, everybody.
God bless everybody. God bless everybody for standing with Ukraine, for helping us, for not walking away. God bless you all. Slava Ukraine.
Героям слава. Please, folks, keep spreading the GoFundMe. Keep spreading it everywhere. The holidays are coming up. I know it's difficult for everybody, but like I said, anything counts. $1, $2, it all works in numbers. And that little present, or that just the fact to be able to be at somebody's side in the hospital that is going through this, that has lost everything and everybody, knowing that we care is extremely important. And the support that you guys have been given in Ukraine, Alexander, our platform is incredible because we're all one. So God bless you. And I wanted to say thank you on that part. Also, I wanted to welcome all our new members and subscribers that have joined today. One in particular that I was able to just see as it was scrolling. I want to welcome Melissa in from Virginia. She became a new Lev Remember paid subscriber today for the first time. She's with us live. Welcome, family. Let's go, Lev Remember family. Give her some love. Also, for all of the new subscribers, paid subscribers, welcome to the family, and thank you for all your support because it's important. And I do have some shout outs that we're going to do out because before we do the shout outs, let's put up the website. So put up the not the website, email address for our for our volunteer hotline. It's LEVPTTP at proton.me. That's Lev PTTP at proton.me. If you guys could put it up in the chat. And Kat, we're gonna get to questions in a second. Also, we're gonna do some questions, and I'm also gonna try to bring some people up. So I'm still with you. Don't leave. We're not done yet. We got a lot to go over still. Some light and fun stuff coming up, and definitely at the end, I have a surprise for you guys. So hold on a second. Let's see. Where's my emails? Okay, here we go. Let's see. Do our shout outs for the week. All right. So let's do some special. I know we have a whole list of volunteers, but a special shout out to Ruthie, Lori, Cheryl, Kristen, Sue, Lisa, Julie, Betsy, and Bill. Major shout out to you guys. Thank you for all the hard work. We know it, we see it. Quick update also. We're going to be taking the GoFundMe, lowering it, our GoFundMe. If you could throw that into the chat, whoever has the GoFundMe we have set up for our movement, because Monday we have a major call set up with the team. Hopefully that goes well. We will be in action, folks, very very soon. So everything we've been working hard to building is coming into fruition, and that's why right now we're taking the next 3-4 weeks, while not only to be able to reflect and spend some time with our loved ones, and to be able to take a little bit time to ourselves, but also trying to continue to help keep the light on not only what's happening in Ukraine, the corruption that's taking place here in the United States, and all over. So please put the what's it called, email up there. That's levpttp.proton.me. And again, shout out to all the incredible volunteers that are out there helping. Special shout out to Jay, Pegs, Riley. We did a special shout out yesterday. I see all of you, but this week again, Ruthie, Lori, Cheryl, Kristen, Sue, Lisa, Julie, Betsy, and Bill. God bless you guys and everyone, all of you, for the great stuff you're doing. So make sure we continue. Also, I just some housekeeping. A bunch of books went out this week. My wife sent them out. We just got off the phone with the distributor. We have more coming in the next week before the holidays. So make sure go to levremembers.com. Definitely, if this is something that is an incredible also present that you could share, because not only is it, I think it's a great read, but also the information and the connecting of the dots. A lot of people are not able to come and watch and see and be a part of our community. It's a great way of sending it to somebody that you want them to understand what's going on. Also, what we got? Let's see. We got the guy. Oh, and before we come to end, I want to talk about our call to action. Again, something the media is not talking about, something that it really is extremely important, folks. And that's why I need you guys to, all of you that want to volunteer to get on our team, to go to at proton.me to join our team, because again, Donald Trump did something very disgusting this yesterday, something that I've been trying to keep in the spotlight, something else the media is not talking about, and that is his abuse towards women, especially in the workplace. Yesterday, Donald Trump basically berated Caitlin Collins from CNN for asking questions. He put out Truth Social saying Caitlin Collins a fake news CNN. And I'm only repeating this, folks, because to show you how mean he is, and I'm only going to say it once. Always stupid and nasty. Asked me why the new ballroom was costing more money than the originally thought 1 year ago. I said because it's going to be double the size and the quality of the finishes and interiors has been brought up to the highest level. Also, the column span has been substantially increased for the purposes of viewing. It is actually under budget and ahead of schedule, as my jobs always are. It's just much bigger, more beautiful than originally planned. Interesting and seldom reported. There are no taxpayer dollars involved. Yeah, because it's all corruption being, why. It is being fully paid for by private donations. Correct. Private donors. What are they getting in return, Donald? Fake news, CNN, and the guys who run the whole corrupt operation that owns it is one of the worst in the business. Their ratings are so low that not even counted or relevant anymore. MAGA. This is disgusting, and this has to stop. Enough is enough. We need this man needs to be put under control, and we need to boycott his press conferences. And that is one of the call to actions that's going to be part of our plan. Is besides, we have the Remember the Epstein files coming up. Before we have, the stuff we're going to do in Congress and the pressure we're going to put on, all of the stuff that's happening. But one of the things is extremely important is we need to stop this, allowing him to be able to berate women the way he is anywhere, but especially in the workplace, and using his pulpit, using one of the, having millions, hundreds of millions of people being able to see this nasty. It has to stop. So we're towards the end of our today coffee tea with Lev and Dean. I have something special I wanted to share with you guys. So when we started the conversation today, one of the things that me and Dean were talking about is not that I still have not realized and that I have not come to a understanding of what I've gone through this whole experience. The past 6 years have been a big blurb. Sometimes trying to just get through, on an adrenaline high. But I was able to do it, and I talk about it all the time, primarily because of the support of my family, the support of my wife, my kids, my son Aaron, my younger kids, and especially a lot of you know I speak about a very important person in my life, because she has been not only she's my sister Ludmila. You guys know her here. She's not only been like a best friend to me my whole life, my partner. She's been like a mother to me, and she's been more than I could explain to you. And a lot of you see her here. She's always helping with Ukraine. She's always trying to help Alexander. She's helping, try to spread the word, does whatever she can. But the one thing you guys don't know about my sister, and I wanted to share personally with you today, is my sister is actually a certified life coach. She's been a certified life coach for the past, I don't know, I think over 12 years. And when I first encountered and was going through my arrest and a lot of things that I had to go through, my sister was the one, besides my wife and my family, that was by my side 24/7. And not just being there as my sister, not just being there as, my mother, because my mother passed away 2 years ago, and prior to that, while I was under arrest and going through it, there was certain stuff I didn't want to tell her because I didn't want her to even know some of the things that were happening. So my sister was a lot of things, but she also at that time she was my, I would say, my life coach, and helped me get through a lot of things that I got through, to be able to be here today and keep going. Even till this day, I constantly, every day, I'll speak to her. And when I'm feeling depressed or I'm feeling excited or whatever the case, and she always gives me, the one thing she always gives me every day is she gives me a positive message. My sister, I don't know if you guys have seen her up here. She's always very positive, and that's one thing about her. She lives her life. Even her license plates say "blessed." She truly believes that we're blessed to be alive. We're blessed to have our family, and she looks at life a lot differently. And the one thing that got me through a lot of the ordeal was having her text me these messages, once a week, where she would come to me and say, you know what, this week, I want you to wake up every morning and I want you to say this message and just, and say it to yourself and you'll feel better. And you know what? It got me through a lot. So I want to share something with you guys. So I've decided that I'm going to add a segment to our coffee and tea with Lev and Dean. Every Saturday, we're going to end off the show with my sister giving us a positive message that she's been giving us so we could do. So if you guys don't mind, I want to bring up my sister, Ludmila. You guys know, you've already met her. Some of you are going to meet her. Let me try get this working here, folks. Bear with me. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. Well, I'm trying to get Ludmila up here. Hold on a second, because uh, uh bear with me, guys. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, so just bear with me. I'm not technology inclined. Have some coffee, tea in the meantime. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's see, Ludmila. There you go. All right. Hey
Hello.
there. How
And
are you, Luda?
you're not gonna believe it. After your introduction, I actually started to cry because
Oh,
because I I really felt it, and I so grateful and so thankful, and that I have the opportunity to tell you how much I'm proud of you for taking
oh.
such a leadership, for really thinking about people like me, like women, because nobody's talking about it. And I'm so grateful for you to being able to take this leadership and make sure that you can make the difference in our lives.
We're gonna make a difference, I promise you. We're just getting started, Luda. So, give us our positive. What's our how? I mean, we're living in a crazy world right now. We got a lot of crazy things happening. People are dying in Ukraine. Just Cheech came up here right now, and really, brought tears to all of our eyes because of
I was crying.
exactly. And then Alexander watching him with the black screen because of the no lights, and knowing that the holidays are coming. It drives a lot on us, and that's why we try to do coffee with tea and Dean. Dean's incredible. He tries to. By the way, that's Angie. For
That's
those of you who
my
know, that's part of our family. That's Angie. Princess Peach is not around right now, but that's Angie. So it's difficult to find bright spots, so that's why let's
thank you.
start something. Let's start spreading some positive energy. Let's get
Yes.
our family here to give us a positive message that we could take for the week. So
You, you know, my love, I know that those little messages that that I've been trying to send you every week, that really helped you to get you through a lot of difficult times in your life. With all the respect, when you mentioned to me, Luda, would you be so kind and give us a great message today, when our audience can relate to and take it into their heart? The greatest weakness lies in the giving up. And today we cannot afford to give up. So the beautiful quote that I have for today is, the most certain way to succeed is always try to just one more time. We have to try one more time to succeed. With leaders like you, you're going to take us a long way. I believe in you. So if every morning each one of us can say, for us to succeed, we need to try one more time. We never give up. And that's gonna bring a big smile on our faces and gonna make us feel better about us and about situation we're in.
I love it. I love it. And I love the message. So, everybody, that's our message for the week. We're not going to give up. We're never going to give up. And, if we have to, we have to try one more time. And that you never know when that one more time is going to be that time. So, all our Lev Remembers and Voice of Ukraine family, never give up, never stop fighting, make your voices heard. And like Luda said, sometimes you gotta just do it one more time. You know what I mean? So don't give up, folks. Give it your all. Keep calling your congressmen and senators and putting those messages. Keep subscribing. Keep spreading the message. Make sure those of you that can. I know it's difficult, but it's if we're fortunate enough that we can give, we need to give. If we're fortunate that we can, we gotta do what we can. So make sure you do it. Luda, I love you.
I love
And
you, my baby.
thank you for all of you. And I apologize. I know some of you have put in some questions I was not able to get to. Tomorrow, we're probably going to do another one with Dean. He'll help me out. We'll do some more Q&As, I promise. If not, we'll do something during the week, but we'll get more Q&As. We're getting it more worked out. But the participation's incredible. And also, don't forget, me and Hunter are going to be doing a major, major live, and you don't want to miss it. But not only miss it, like I said, one or two of you lucky paid subscribers are going to get to be able to come up and actually interact with me and Hunter, ask your question. But you're only going to be able to do it if you're a paid subscriber, because that's one way we're going to give back, and that's one way you guys could support this platform. So for Lev, Dean, Ludmila, Alexander, and everybody here
God
at Lev
bless you.
Remembers, and have a wonderful, God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful Saturday. Go spend some time with your loved ones. And like Ludmila says, don't give up. We're never going to stop fighting. And if you have to, give it one more time, because you never know when that one time really takes it. So have a great day, guys. Take care.
Thank you.